Welcome to 10-8. 10-8 is a more personal and journal-style series of articles by myself that will center around police management, criminology, and policing. The articles will not be the typical citation-driven essay style that I use. For those articles, please see my Medium page, published books such as Amazon, especially The Business of Policing, Volume 1, Crimes and Punishments in the 21st Century, or scientific published literature highlighted by The Business of Policing, Volume 2, Managing Ethical Police Conduct. Here I will post frequent thought streams on my personal philosophies. Thanks for listening in. Police reforms. Private prisons. What are private prisons? Okay, fine. Let's talk about private prisons. Here's the situation. In the country that incarcerates a higher percentage of the population than anywhere else, an idea was launched to place some low-risk prisoners into privately run prisons. Of the over 1 million prisoners in the United States, less than 10% are in these private prisons. Prisons are buildings. Working and living in those buildings are people, and those people need supplies. In this building, they buy utilities such as water and electricity. They need everyday household items for living, such as bed, laundry, and blankets. These people need to cook and eat every day. They need to clean the building. They need health care and nurses and medical supplies. They need to clean themselves. They need their respective uniforms. The guard need their professional equipment, from protective gear to scanners. All of these items are purchased from private businesses. I do not have the actual budgets at hand, but including employee compensation, we are talking well over 90% of any prison expenditures are going to private interests. There has been a significant objection to public prisons, but I need you all to see that this is a moral objection and not focused on outcomes. The evidence being cited is not that they have bad consequences, it is that they are for profit. This is not really an argument. Public prisons are for profit as well, just not in cold hard cash. The proposed solution. Change the name on the building from Dave Johnson's, a private citizen, authorized prison, to Uncle Sam's prison. Running the operations of this whole deal is an individual. The public prisons pay a public employee over $150,000 with free medical and a lifelong pension to fulfill this role. The private prisons take a small cut of the overall budget for the prison with no medical and no retirement. This seems to be a moot point from everything I can see. Whether your name is on the building as John Q. Public or your neighbors own it, it just does not seem to matter. Just regulate them. I mean, you think it would be easier to hold government officials accountable? I'm not choosing a side to this moral argument. I do not know which is morally better. Although if we were concerned about improving the lives of people, shift your efforts to something that can make a tangible difference. What is the point of your police reform idea? It is not necessarily your fault. It has been what humans have been thinking was right for a very long time. Most people are defining justice and police reform as some level of revenge or vengeance. The unscientific and untrue principle is that force or the threat of force is an effective deterrent to disagreed with conduct. If you credibly promise to harm someone, then they won't harm you. I hope most of you can see the obvious flaws with such thinking. I mean, it is only reasonable for me to harm you if your idea of how you should treat me is essentially the beatings will continue until morale improves. It is a vicious cycle of treating others as you would not want to be treated yourself. How does your police reform idea result in better future outcomes? And let me be very blunt. One thing I often bite my tongue about is, what the hell have you done that warrants you having an opinion about such a complex topic? Where are you getting this from? The source of information is not everything, but it is critical to serious thought. Most likely, the ideas that we have in our heads about police reform came from some measure of media. A journalist, an op-ed, the politicians of the FOP, government, special interest groups, and more. I do not mean it as an insult, though it is. Nearly no one has ever come to me with questions that started with any scholarly work or from any of the experienced experts in the field. They are never like, I was reading Tracy Mears' work on rightful policing. What do you think about that idea, Dr. Wood? I have not met a single activist or anyone who even knew who Tracy Mears is. Now, I would argue against Mears, not that her research is bad, I just think I can easily demonstrate the flaws. Regardless, she is another scholarly leader in police thought. In the end, we are talking about the management of human employees. That is why my scholarly studies shifted to organizational management. I found out that there is well understood social science. We know a good deal about how to get the best products from our organizations. The more you can align the desires of your stakeholders to your product, the higher customer satisfaction and loyalty you will have. You control behavior through incentives and disincentives that work mostly in the background. You can look at any one of my you can look at one of my proposals, civilian-led policing, to get an idea of how this can work in practice. I have no idea how many other ideas are possible. I just need proposals that are intended to be taken seriously to meet the basic evidence that supports why the idea would work. Often this is not possible in data, and I understand. In those cases, we need concrete proposals with rational thought lines that you take the time to spell out in written form and include responses to potential critiques. Take the idea as seriously as you expect others to. Remember that. Take the idea seriously as you expect others to.